So, first lesson of the new unit, Superpowers, that we've just talked about. First thing that we need to clarify, got there again, some good reading for you to do, the birth of the superpower, which gives a nice little bit of background into the unit as a whole and what we're building up from. It's also a very interesting video there about how America specifically became a superpower. So the main concepts ultimately that we need to think about is that being a superpower has many different facets. It can be economic, military, cultural, and political. Okay, just one of these things alone does not make a country a superpower. If a country can get all of these things together, then you're moving on your way to being a superpower. But we also have to think about the different mechanisms of maintaining that power as well, and the key ideas of hard and soft power. In terms of the exam spec, we've got the key things there. It's very difficult to categorize who is and isn't a superpower on the whole. Obviously, the USA will be over here on the left. It is the only global superpower. Sorry, Mila. But then we've got lots of others here that go somewhere on this spectrum. The EU is a difficult one to classify. It's not an emerging power. It's been around for a while, but it's not a superpower either. Obviously, the USSR and the British Empire no longer exist. The BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, they're all emerging as superpowers, some more than others. China and India definitely, could be question marks over Russia and Brazil in terms of whether they're actually emerging or not. Japan, South Africa, definitely regional powers, and probably not anytime soon going to be moving towards that emerging superpower status. A.L. Miller has a good definition of what a superpower is there, but there's a simpler one in the red box there. You can use either one, but main thing to remember is that the term superpower has only been around since just after the war, and it was used to describe the British Empire, the USSR, and the United States and their position in the world at the end of the war. Number of things that a country needs to be a superpower and to maintain its status. Obviously, an economic base. You can't do anything without a strong, stable economy. Political stability as well is important, both internally and being able to express that power beyond your own borders. Natural resources are very important. Coal, oil, gas. With those, you have influence over other countries in terms of exports and imports. Military is an obvious one. If you can park a big aircraft carrier off someone else's coast, then it's going to be clear about what your intentions and what your strengths are. And it's also important to think about cultural influence, like we spoke about in the lesson, the power of film and media and Hollywood and the Chinese film industry, and the picture that they paint of their standing in the world, and the strength and the righteousness, if you like, of their military. Put all those together and you get a potential superpower status. Obviously, as it shows on this map, GDP is obvious. The United States here, nearly a quarter of the world's share of GDP. 10, 11, 12, however many aircraft carriers the United States has at the moment, by far the biggest and most powerful forms of expressing one's power militarily around the world. In terms of expenditure on military, again, you can see the US, $698 billion, by far and away, billions and billions more than any other country in the world, even the other countries combined. Oil and gas, the Middle East, obviously leading there in terms of the oil and gas reserves, but it's important to remember that when it comes to natural resources and superpower status, they will not last forever. Okay, that cycle of dominance in one field or another, in this case natural resources, is not going to last forever. So it's important to remember that when it, particularly with natural resources and how that links into being a superpower. TNCs and globalization as well, having an economic impact and an economic hold over other countries in the world, is also another important factor. So what I just asked you to do before next lesson is just to fill out that simple table, okay, with the aspects of how we maintain power economically, politically, culturally, militarily, and in terms of natural resources, and just get a little bit more information on that table. And then next lesson, we'll be talking about this, doing a little bit of reading, the effectiveness of soft and hard power in contemporary international relations.